tier restrictions go into effect, how some local businesses are working to adapt to the changes.
Some local leaders, though, pushing back. One mayor coming out and saying his city will not enforce the rules.
And an advisor to President-elect Biden suggesting a national lockdown, where Biden has stood on that when asked in the past. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Overseas this morning, 6 Americans among a crew killed during a helicopter crash. It happened in Egypt over the Sinai Peninsula. 9 people on board that aircraft, 8 of them were killed. Chopper was part of a multinational force that helps monitor a peace agreement between Egypt and Israel. Officials say the chopper crashed during a routine mission. There were no signs of an attack, but the cause is still under investigation. Well, right now, businesses across the county racing to comply with new health restrictions brought on by San Diego's slide into the purple tier. I'm Jim Patton.
I'm Virginia Cha. They have just 2 days to move back outside, which means it's crunch time for gyms. ABC 10 News reporter Vanessa Paz is in Claremont at the 24-hour fitness there, one of the biggest chains working to give members some options come this weekend.
A major gym getting ready for a big move, making sure that they're in position for everything to change once again come Saturday. It's survival of the fittest once again for gyms across the county after falling into the state's most restrictive purple COVID-19 tier, and one gym who doesn't want to get left behind when new rules go into effect: 24-hour fitness.
We're committed to staying outdoors and keeping it safe and making sure the well-being of our members is a priority.
Well, you can't choose from their dozens of locations. 7 of them will have machines outside, including this one, Alf Balboa.
We were anticipating a potential closure, and so we did a great job getting our outdoor areas set up, and the members have been loving it so far. District
Manager Joe Amato said workouts will be reservation based. One booking gets you 90 minutes alongside 57 other guests. And while gyms are preparing for what's to come, others like Tom Green, owner of the Green Speed Training Gym in Eastlake, did the opposite.
Everyone was telling me not to do it. Like, don't do this. Are you crazy?
Expanding his square footage on the inside, even though members won't be allowed to enter until we fall back into a less restrictive tier.
It's certainly risky to do that, but I've always been kind of a risk taker with certain things. I just go with my gut instinct, and if I feel good about it, I go for it.
His gym also offers outdoor machines. Since COVID, he said support from the Eastlake community and members have helped keep things afloat.
It's very supportive, and we have a lot of great clients that really support what we're doing.
Despite their plans, both gyms will continue to be there for their clients, no matter what tier we land on next.
And to get that 1-hour workout in, de-stress, stay healthy, increase your immune system, and be outside. And I think that's what our goal is, and we've been doing a great job doing that.
It's for both physical health and mental health. People are really wanting to get out of the house.
Vanessa Paz, ABC 10 News.
Just in the last 15 minutes, we learned courts in San Diego will remain open as we move into the purple tier. The San Diego Superior Court sent ABC 10 News a release saying it is an essential business, that operations will not need to be modified. Many services are already virtual, and the court says COVID safety precautions are already in place for those who need to physically go to the courthouse.
And this weekend, some are expecting a showdown between county health officials and businesses that are refusing to follow the restrictions that come with being in the purple tier. As county leaders look for support, ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell explains El Cajon's mayor is already saying police there will not be cracking down.
Now that the county is in the purple tier, businesses have until Saturday morning to make sure they're up to par with the new guidelines that come along with this tier change. If they don't, then they cannot stay open. And if they do stay open, they're violating the rules. The mayor of El Cajon, Bill Wells, says he's fielding a flood of phone calls and emails from businesses ever since the county moved into the purple tier.
People are coming up to me and saying, we're not going to close. If we close, we'll never reopen. And we don't want to run afoul of the county or the state, but we have no choice. We've got to feed our families. We've got to pay our mortgages. And I understand.
Since the pandemic started, the El Cajon City Police Department has already been told to categorize COVID-19 related enforcement calls as a low priority. And Mayor Wells says that approach will not change this weekend.
If somebody called and said that there was a nail salon open or a hair cutting place open, we're not going to go shut them down. Now, we reserve the right to continue to do some enforcement if we need to. If you don't like the fact that there's a business open, don't go in there. That's fine. You don't have to go in. Don't give in to the temptation to try to control other people's behavior. And especially if you do, then do it in a civil and polite way.
Though he says he understands the concern about the increase in COVID-19 cases, Mayor Wells says he believes the attempt to control the spread of the coronavirus shouldn't be handled like this.
As far as I know, we have never shut down the entire economy.
All of the restrictions will go into effect at 12:01 Saturday morning. Reporting outside the county admin building, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Meanwhile, the county says they are trying to balance controlling the virus with keeping our economy going, as many point to the damage being done to local businesses. Dr. Rebecca Fielding Miller is an expert in infectious diseases at UC San Diego, and she says cases will continue to go up as more people gather. She says stricter regulations are an important way to slow the spread of this virus, which San Diego did following spikes in April and July.
The reality of it is indoor spaces with people talking without masks on are not safe. So I think that's really important to getting this under control.
Dr. Fielding Miller says the county and state have been taking half measures, trying to avoid a full lockdown and letting businesses stay open. But she says that will only work if everyone is committed to being safe, including social distancing, avoiding gatherings, and wearing masks.
On the national level, a controversial plan getting new attention as a newly appointed member of President-elect Biden's coronavirus task force is floating the idea of a nationwide shutdown. Dr. Michael Osterholm suggested that the government put together a package to cover Americans and their business costs to allow for a nationwide quarantine for a month or more. Osterholm says the idea mirrors measures taken in places like New Zealand. Biden, though, has pushed back against that idea in the past. As recently as October, Biden said he doesn't think there's a need for a lockdown and suggested instead giving businesses and schools guidance on safely operating.
And that comes as the fallout from the election continues. President-elect Biden continuing his transition to the White House, appointing staff, while President Trump and his team push on in their fight over the election results. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
President-elect Joe Biden taking a big step in his transition process, announcing longtime advisor Ron Klain will take on the role of chief of staff, often referred to as the second hardest job in Washington. In a statement, the president-elect saying his deep, varied experience and capacity to work with people all across the political spectrum is precisely what I need as we confront this moment of crisis and bring our country together again. Klain was Biden's chief of staff when he was vice president, and he also led the Obama administration response to the Ebola virus.
One thing that the Obama administration left as a result of the work we started during the Ebola response and continued with the Pandemic Preparation Office was a playbook. And on page 9 of the pandemic playbook, it said, hey, here's something to worry about, a coronavirus.
Biden now working to fill other critical posts in his administration as President Trump stubbornly refuses to concede and, according to the Washington Post, has reportedly told his agencies not to cooperate with the incoming administration. Trump made his first public appearance at Arlington National Cemetery on Veterans Day, but aside from tweets, the president has not spoken out for a full week now, his longest stretch of silence since he took office.
People close to President Trump tell ABC News he may keep up this fight until mid-December when the Electoral College delegates officially vote. Rena Roy, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
And this just in this morning, just as his state begins to launch a recount, the Secretary of State in Georgia is entering quarantine after his wife tested positive for the coronavirus. We'll, of course, continue to follow that as the situation in that state develops. Well, this morning, parts of the East Coast underwater. Look at this footage from North Carolina. Dozens of people had to be rescued from this flooding. So high, some vehicles nearly submerged. That region seeing a lot of rain right now thanks to Eta, and more could be on the way. Florida also dealing with more flooding. These images coming from the Tampa area where Eta is hitting Florida again. Earlier this week, South Florida was dealing with all kinds of flooding. Eta making landfall in West Florida this morning before moving northeast toward the Atlantic. Want to check in with Megan Perry really quickly. Megan, this storm has moved in such an unusual way.
It's crazy. I'm like super nerding out about this, Virginia. So let's show you this track of Eta. It's pretty crazy. So Here it comes. It goes very slowly towards Central America and rapidly intensifies to a Category 4 hurricane, making landfall in Nicaragua and Honduras, impacting, pummeling them with rain. Then it goes to Cuba, makes a landfall as a tropical storm. Then it goes towards South Florida, like you just mentioned, makes landfall as a tropical storm, turns around, turns back around, and then it made landfall early this morning in northern Florida. It's finally going to weaken and move off into the Atlantic as we head into tomorrow. But we have been talking about this storm for over a week now. For us here locally, I'm going to be talking about a big warm up when I come back with your full forecast. Jim, Virginia?
Looked like a pinball machine. Unreal. All right. Megan, thank you very much for that.